Good morning, good morning, good morning. I I was thinking yesterday as we were, going through and catching up on people's comments and all the beautiful feedback that has been coming in, that I've been a bit negligent in not really acknowledging our all the women that are tuning in via YouTube. And so this morning, I just wanted to take this moment to say, Mwah, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I absolutely understand the choices to not be on social media so much. Do we think of YouTube as social media? I'm not sure, but I think there's, the thing with YouTube is that you don't have to put in all your details to watch stuff on YouTube. You can just show up and watch it. It's a bit more like TV. Whereas in Facebook, the advantage is that we get to create a bit more of a dialogue and community. So there's pros and cons to both. But I just didn't want to not acknowledge all my beautiful friends over on YouTube. So good morning, special good morning to you. Good morning, Margaret. Thank you for being here, darling. As you come in, please, please, please say good morning. It is lovely to know who's here and to create this connection. There's this thing, as presenters in this online space, it can often feel like you're just sort of speaking to a great big void. Good morning, Monica. It is lovely to see you, darling. Good morning, Beryl. Good morning, good morning. Tell me where everybody's tuning in from. I think we do have a predominantly Australian audience, and I guess, and New Zealand, I guess the time zone makes it so much easier. Over Pacific time, I think you're at about 4:30, and I think Eastern time it's about 7:30 at night. So I appreciate that it is getting late for people. So did anybody let me know who started doing a little declutter? Was anybody? Good morning, Liz. It is lovely to see you, my friend. Who started decluttering? Did anybody do anything? Was there something physically in your environment that you decided to go ahead and declutter? Did you get into your emails and start to sort those out in your inbox? What was it? Let me know. I just think it's such an important step that is so often missed when we're consuming all this fabulous inspiration and information. Is we get this fabulous feeling of feeling all inspired and fired up, and then it turns off and we go back into the same stuff every day. Good morning, Mia. Bedtime for you soon. Clear the kitchen counter. High five. I was doing high 10, but high five to you, honey. Well done. Well done. Started your digital declutter, Margaret. Awesome. Fantastic. Monica started a digital one, unsubscribed to lots of emails, no longer serving me, deleted a lot and filed a lot, gave myself an hour. That is such a power move. That is such a power move. If you sit down and clearly define the amount of time that you're going to spend, it's like, right, I am here. I'm going to be undistracted for half an hour and I'm just going to do this. Monica, an hour is awesome. Liz started with my ensuite bench. Awesome. Power move. So lovely to wake up with sparkling this morning. That is exactly the feeling that I love as well. Beryl, set your intention, honey. What's one thing that you can start to declutter? And it may be that you just dedicate 5 minutes, whatever that is. Baby steps. One small area at a time, starting in my underwear drawer. Awesome. Tomorrow's the pantry. I embarrassingly share that, my underwear drawer, I think it was, a few years after my last child was born, it was like, I don't think I need these maternity undies anymore. They were still functional and they still kind of worked and stayed up, but it was time for them to go. So underwear drawer is a great place to start. If you're like me and you're, I'm practicality. I find it very difficult to get rid of things that still have a practical use. I'm the person that's got that stack of sheets that have got tears in them and are no longer used as bed sheets, but they make great rags. So I just kind of pile them up. And at some point it's like, oh my goodness, it's time for these to go. My husband, does have a pile of those kind of things in the shed that he uses, but it is good to just do a little restock occasionally, get rid of things. I started deleting emails, Sandy. Awesome. Great job. Awesome. All right. Beautiful women. Do you know, I started this morning, I'm going to say, my earrings, I just love earrings. And this morning it was like, I had these long brown ones and then I had orange and then I had yellow. I think the yellow's working. Where's everybody, has anybody got anything that they particularly wear that gives them, we talk about this dopamine dressing, that thing that gives you, oh my goodness, my emails are open. Let me turn that off so it's not binging. What do you wear? Have you got, is it a lippy? Is it earrings? Is it, like this jumper is a favorite jumper. I love the colors in it. What's something that you wear that gives you that little lift that you put on each morning? Tell me, I'd love to know. I actually put my hair up for the first time in ages this morning. When I first started, when I started going gray, and then I was wearing my hair up like this a lot, and I actually had my last photo shoot done like this, and I got so many comments that it looked like I was wearing a tiara, this style with my hair, that I got a bit self-conscious and I stopped. I didn't want everyone to think I was wearing a tiara in my photos. And so I stopped doing it. But I got such a beautiful comment again this week from somebody on Instagram that went, oh, whatever, get over yourself, Edwina. Because I like wearing my hair up like this. Anyway, that's my tiara hairstyle. Has anyone else got a tiara hairstyle? I'm wondering. Okay, let's kick off. It is 9:32, and today we are talking about increasing your levels of fulfillment and happiness. So how do we do this? It feels like we can get stuck in this place. Good morning, Judy. We can get stuck in this place where we're looking for this, what feels like an elusive answer. Why do I feel like this? Why am I stuck in this place? Why do I find it hard to find my enthusiasm for life again? So this basic formula for increasing your sense of fulfillment and happiness in life, let me give you how I think about it. Here it is. You've got to know where you're going. You've got to know what you're trying to bring to life. If you don't have a clear vision for what it is that you're working towards, you can just keep working and have your head down and keep going through the motions, and you're always busy. You never got enough time for the things that feel like you really wish you had more time for relationships, time for self, time for holidays, time to relax, time to read a book, time, whatever that time conversation is for you. It's like, I wish I had more time for something. You're going through the motions, you're incredibly busy. But where are you going? What is it that you are actually working towards? Because if you don't have that super clear vision of what it is who you're wanting to be, what you're wanting to do, and what you're wanting to have, you are simply living in autopilot. You are just going through the motions. It's another day. Let's wake up. I've got my to-do list. Fall into bed. Wake up the next day. I'm sure everyone can relate. So the first step is you've got to know where you're going. And I'll break this down for you in a little bit. But once you've got that vision, the next thing is making progress. The next step is going, right, this is what I want to do. Once I'm in progress, taking actions and steps towards bringing that vision to life, that feeling you get into, but you know it. You get into bed at night, it's like, it's that sense of fulfillment, satisfaction. You know you're on track, rather than that hamster wheel living, going through the motions. It's all a bit mindless. You do the same things pretty much every day, and suddenly a week's gone by, another month's gone by. Here we are knocking on the door of September, and it's like, what happened this year? Now, I know that there's this sense of this sort of COVID hangover. We've been through 2 years of lockdowns and COVIDs and all this sort of craziness, but I think there's this sort of lack of urgency and a complacency where we're sort of almost in limbo, waiting to see what happens next, what's coming next. And so we pull back in our lives. I want you to use this challenge as almost like a wake up. We want that enthusiasm, but you've got to have your vision. Now, I've talked about time marches on. Absolutely. Um, so I've talked about setting your intention, and part of this creating this vision is about setting your intention. If you're in this challenge and you don't know what you want to get out of it, you are in a state of passive learning. It's like, I'll sit back and see what you're going to give me. Awesome. I will give you a lot, but here's my recommendation. Lean forward and say, this is what I want to get. And I'm going to ask Edwina if she can help, or I am going to ask people in this community for their ideas on how I can make it happen. Lean in, okay? So this is where responsibility comes in. I talked about responsibility. If it is to be, it's up to me. So don't be in passive mode. Stop sitting back in your life waiting for life to come to you. Lean in, my love, and decide what it is that you want. Get that sense of urgency and make it happen. So create the vision. I'm sure there are people in here that have heard me talk before about using the wedding analogy, and it is just so powerful because everybody can relate to in some form or another, whether you've been married or not. You get engaged, right? Awesome. Now we're going to plan this wedding, this one magical, extraordinary day in your life. So you can apply this to a 50th birthday or some other occasion, whatever it is. Paint that picture in your head. You are creating this amazing day. You know that you are going to work your butt off to feel the most vibrant, healthy, strong version of yourself that you can possibly be. You know what you're going to wear, you know what you're going to eat, you know who you're going to surround yourself with, you know where you're going to be, you know the car you're going to drive in, you know the holiday that you're going to take after, you know how you're going to feel. You prepare yourself to feel a certain way. All these pieces you carefully create a vision around. Some of us will put it on paper, some of us will do a Pinterest board, some, you know, like however that is for you. You'll pull in people to support you, and you will do whatever it takes to bring that one day to life. Now, why don't we apply that same passion to our lives? So that is what it is to build a vision. And then you know that the steps you're taking to get there are meaningful. You know the steps that you need to take to get the dress organized, to get the food organized, to organize the car, to send out the invites, to bring the people in around you that you want around you. You know that you're going to eat the best you've eaten forever because you want to feel a certain way. You know you're going to move your body and get yourself, you know, feeling like $1 million in your body for one day. Let's do it for our whole life. So tell me in here, we've got the fabulous Kylie Pinwill is coming to talk to us about food and nutrition, one of my favorite topics, and how we can use that, you know, in getting ourselves in the best shape ever. But tell me this, rate your health from 1 to 10 where you are right now. Pop it in the comments. Please don't just sit back, lean in. Pop it in the comments. If you're in YouTube, I'm going to come and check this after we've finished in here. I can't see your comments, but please don't miss this step. Pop it in the comments. 1 out of 10, where are you feeling in your health right now? Is it like 3 and you feel sluggish and tired, carrying more weight, or you're underweight? 7, 6, awesome. Are you, you know, closer to a 10 where you feel vital and strong and on fire and full of energy? 5, 9, awesome. Right at 5, yeah, interesting. Interesting. Come on, guys. There's 22 of you watching right at this minute. Lean in. 7, working on your health right now. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So once you've got your number, then I want you to think about, what is it going to take to get you? What's in the gap? And where do you get to inject some urgency into this? Now, what we want to really think about is, life is now. Tomorrow is promised to no one. Life is now, and yet we live in this state of this waiting for this arbitrary point in the future, when I have more money, when the kids have left home, when I've got, like when work isn't so demanding. When, then I will. Let me know. Is there a conversation in your head that is that when something, I will? It's not promised to anyone. Now, for those who've been in my community for a little while know that I lost my elder sister very suddenly. I saw her on my birthday on the 24th of April, and 4 days, she's not on a single medication. There was nothing that was pre-warned. And 4 days later, I found her dead. And she was 49 years old, and she died of a brain aneurysm. And it was one of the most startling, shocking, appalling experiences. But what it did, apart from, there was a million things that it did, but one of the things that it did was wake me up. It was like I was spent, like I've just turned 50. So that year where I was 49, it was like this pocket of time my sister was robbed of. And everything after here is an absolute gift. And I plan to be around for another 50 years. But this is a gift. And if you are wasting time, waiting for some arbitrary point in the future to arrive, when you're going to put in the work to become the healthiest you can possibly be, when you put in the work to create the most amazing, magical 10 out of 10 relationships that you can possibly have, whether that is creating the financial security and independence that will allow you to live the life you yearn to live, whatever your personal projects are, don't wait. Don't put this on hold for a time that is never going to arrive unless you decide that the time is now. Now, I've sent out an email this morning to my entire community, and it is that we are doing another vision board workshop. So if you've got some sense that I don't even know what I want, or I'm not really clear about where I'm going, then this is for you. It's called ENLIVEN, and it will run from the 5th of September for a week. I know your dad died at 49. Yeah. So it will run for a week, and doing vision work, obviously it's my passion, but doing vision work, there is an art and science to it, and it is the most impactful way that I know to reawaken that sense of what's possible, to let go of preconceived ideas about what is possible for you, and to create that clear, actionable blueprint. So I am so passionate. My feeling is that if I don't help you to understand how incredibly impactful this is and how important it is to do, then I'm letting you down. That is how passionate I am about it. So if you sign up to do this with me starting on the 5th of September, it's ridiculously cheap anyway, at $97 to spend a whole week with me. But if you decide to sign up now, then I'm going to encourage you to invite a friend, so you can even split the cost, and that's, makes it 50% off for you. So I would love you to do that. Gia, if you thank you, Monica. Yeah, if you pop a link in, people can grab that. And I just am so excited to be doing this right now, because after this challenge, you're going to have all this information. We've had people talking to you about decluttering, whether it is about exercising more, whether it is about today, about nutrition and getting your weight where you want it to be, your health where you want it to be. Food's not just about weight. Of course, that's a big part of the picture, but getting your health where you want it to be. We've got all these amazing speakers that are giving you so much. The fabulous Diana talked to us about relationships. This is something else that is just so important. Don't allow the relationships in your life to be anything other than a 10 out of 10, because what else is there? We are these people, we are human, that are hardwired for connection. And if your relationship with your partner, if you have one, isn't just passionate and loving and supportive and fueling you and your partner, then we get to get it there. If you haven't got a partner in your life at this moment, then this is the time to work on who you get to be, to create the partner of your dreams, to bring in the partner of your dreams. So I highly encourage everybody to jump in and sign up for that. It's going to be super, super, super exciting. What else is there in this chunk? What we want to talk about is creating the life that you want to create a non-negotiable. Making it a non-negotiable. So where do you get to apply more urgency? Using the pillars of health. So that's physical and mental health. Physical health can be aches and pains. There may be a chronic illness or an acute illness. It may be a weight issue. What is it? Is there a health goal that you have? Physical health goal. Mental health can be anxiety, depression, lots of negative thoughts, and of course procrastination. Procrastination is responsible for so much of our feelings of reduced self-worth, anxiety, depression. If you can see where you procrastinate on taking action on your health goals, on your wealth goals, on your relationship goals, it's undermining your confidence, it's undermining your self-worth. It is in essence saying I'm not worth it. Because if you say to yourself, right, I know to feel the healthiest I want to be, I need to get up and exercise and move my body every day. I'm going to start on Monday. And then Monday comes and you don't feel like it and you just let it slide past. What happens? What are you saying to yourself? What is the message that you are sending yourself? It doesn't really matter. It's not really important. I'll keep giving to everybody else around me. I'll keep making sure that the kids get off their devices and exercise. I'll do what I can to feed everybody else really well. But you let yourself go. What message are you sending yourself? So physical health, mental health, wealth, financial independence. Women notoriously don't like speaking about money, but if you don't have financial independence, if you don't feel that you have the money that you need to live the life you want to be living, and that's different for everybody. Nobody else gets to tell you whether it is $1 million a year, 100,000 a year, or what that number is. You get to decide what that is for you so that you have financial security. You know you're going to be okay. You know you can be more generous in the world. You can give to the charities that you want to give to. You can buy from fashion designers that are ethical, sustainable, and care about the planet rather than just the fast fashion, destroying the planet brands. That takes more money. You can buy organic foods because you have the money to support the farmers that are caring about the environment and don't want to put so many chemicals on the planet. So having more money allows you to be more generous and to make purchases that are in integrity with your values. So health, wealth, time for the things that matter. Where is that time conversation popping up in your head? I wish I had more time to spend with my kids. I wish I had more time to read a book. I wish I had time to have a girls' weekend away. I wish I had time to lie under the stars and go camping with my partner. I wish I had time to what? Time to create a garden. Time to have a veggie garden. What are the time things? interested, can't stay on long as I need to leave for another live in-person event. Maybe watch there. Yeah, no problem, Catherine. So health, physical and mental health, wealth, time, and love. So love we break down into these three things: love for self, love for others, and love for life. So where is that? Where is it at? You know, we said a 10 out of 10, you know, what out of 10 for your health goals? Tell me, what is it for your relationship? Perhaps if you are in a partnered relationship at the moment, tell me, where is your relationship at the moment? Is it that you've been married for a long time and you almost just become friends? You just sort of live these parallel lives, but you're not feeling deeply connected anymore. What is that? Where is it at? There are so many people that I've spoken to that once the kids leave home, we suddenly run out of things to talk about. All the conversations for so many years, possibly for up to 20 years, have been around, okay, so who's going to take the kids to this sport, and how are we going to help this teenager with this problem? And there is these all-consuming conversations around getting the bills paid and the kids. But where are you at in that love and fun and spontaneity? Where are you in your sexual relationship? You know, has sex become a chore? Is it non-existent? Where do you want it to be? So tell me in the comments, if you're in a partner relationship, where is your relationship now out of 10 versus where you want it to be? If you're not in a partnered relationship, if you haven't got that amazing special somebody in your life, where is that? Where are you up to on that? And how are you going about creating that? The very first step is to decide who you want to be. Now, I know that it took me many years after my first marriage broke down. We separated. I became a single mum with 4 kids and all consumed with the kids. But in order to meet my second husband, Laurie, who is the most extraordinary man on the planet, I can say that with utmost sincerity and confidence. I can't, you know, I have to keep pinching myself at how blessed I am to have him in my life. But I had this coach that said to me something that I hadn't actually considered before. And she said to me, who did you need to be? Who were you to attract him into your life? That gave me pause for thought, because typically we don't think like that. Typically we get focused on, you know, that vision building. It's all about who they are. We can create this picture of who we want to bring into our life, which is great. But the first step is actually working out who you get to be to attract the partner that you want. Yeah. So 2 different ways of looking at it. And this is all part of the vision building process. So as you think about this magical life that you want to create, you can, my encouragement is to think about it in a chapter. So it's like a 12-month chapter. You can break it down into, what are we going to do today? What are we going to do this week? But if you think about your health goals, this is where we're going to be starting to, you know, talk to Kylie in just a minute, and she's going to give us so much to support you with this. But what I want you to think about is, so if your health is currently at a 5, what's in the gap between it being 5 and a 10? What do you need to do? And how urgent are you going to be about it? Can you really afford to say, I'll get to it later? I'm too tired right now to think about it. If you're too tired right now to think about it, if you don't have the energy right now, then it is actually the perfect time. It is the perfect time. And it doesn't have to be this monumental, all or nothing, clean out the entire pantry, join a gym, say you're going to go, for 2 hours a day and completely make over your whole diet. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work like that unless you've been given a terrifying diagnosis, and we don't want anyone to get to that stage. We get to go, okay, so, and I'm going to pick Kylie's brains for you in a minute, and you're welcome to ask her questions, but it's like, what are the first steps? What are the first steps that you get to make? And how excited can you get about being in the peak, the most amazing physical condition that you've ever been in? And yes, you can do it at 50. Yes, you can do it at 60 and beyond. You absolutely can. The story I tell myself is I'll be more active when I cut back on my work hours. Yeah, but it doesn't work like that. We've got to prioritize our own health and well-being first, Beryl. It's so, so, so important. And it may be, like, how do we move things to fit in with your life, or how do we change your current routine? Because sometimes an interruption is actually the thing that is going to serve you best. To do something radically different, it is that sort of that wake-up call that shifts your entire energy around an experience. So maybe rather than trying to fit in with the work schedule, it's looking at it from a different point of view, a different picture. So my encouragement today, as you listen to Kylie, who I'm excited to introduce you to in a minute, is to start thinking about, where am I leaning back and just passively taking on this information? Because it feels a bit, like it feels like we're doing something. It feels like we're changing something just by listening. Unfortunately, we're not. It's not going to get you the results that you yearn for. It's not going to get you in the state of physical and mental health that you desire if you simply listen. So get out your pen and paper, be ready to start taking notes, ask questions, because Kylie's here. We've got her for this precious half an hour. She's going to give you so much information, but this is your opportunity to lean in, to take responsibility, and to decide that you're going to be urgent about this, that life is now, and it's not about waiting for some arbitrary point in the future when you think it's all going to come together, because it doesn't work like that. You get to decide that today is the day. Until now, you've done things a certain way. Today's the day we take action and start to make all these different areas of our lives a 10 out of 10. So Kylie Pinwill is a clinical nutritionist. She has I've just got to check, her podcast is the Hormone Hub, and she has over 20 years. You get to pick the brain of this amazing woman who has 20 years of experience in the health and wellness industry, fitness industry. She works with women in their 40s and 50s and beyond who are feeling lethargic, struggling with weight gain, hot flushes, and she helps to balance hormones and reset our metabolism. I am so, so, so excited to introduce you to Kylie Pinwill. Kylie, hello. And
hello, Edwina. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Me too. And I love every time I bring on somebody with an Aussie accent, it's like, yes.
Yeah. Can I just say, I have loved the last couple of days. And you are kind of, something you said sort of hit home with me. You can sit here and you consume all the content, but unless you do something about it, it doesn't actually mean anything. So holding my hand up, I joined the gym. Yes.
Well done.
So thank you. It's been in the back of my mind, walking the dog just isn't quite enough at this point in my life. I need to be lifting some weights. I need to be doing something more with my body and my muscles. And I've known that. Yeah. And I haven't been doing that. And I was just
I got a message from my best friend the other day, and she said I deadlifted 60 kilos. I was like, oh my gosh, wow. That's like lifting me up. Great, you can carry me now.
So I was so excited. So I just wanted to let you know, yes, I'm a health professional. Yes, I
Yeah.
know all the things. And then sometimes I need to hear the message as well.
Yep.
And when it was reflected back to me that we
Yep.
need to take action, we can't just think that that's a good idea.
Yeah.
So I took action.
Get on with
So
it.
if I can do it,
And it,
anyone can do it.
yeah, and Kylie, it goes back, you know, I said, I can't think it was yesterday or the day before, it's a journey. It's not a
Yeah,
destination. This health,
never.
you know, it is a journey. It's always evolving. We always get to grow and go to the next level. So,
Definitely.
Kylie, let's start with because I know, you know, having interviewed so many people in the health world, there is always a story. There is always a reason that you got, yes, that's so much better. There's always a reason that, you know, you got into this space. Tell us how you came to be doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I think so. I've always been sort of in the health and fitness sort of industry. So I started off at uni, you know, a G-string, fluoro G-string clad aerobics instructor. So, you know, I can grapevine and I can do the step aerobics.
There's got to be photos, Kylie. There's got to be photos.
There are photos, much to my children's horror. And probably much to their great relief. There's no videos.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'd always sort of, I think, been active and been interested in sort of fitness. And then I sort of realized, and I went down the path of being a personal trainer, and I hated it. I hated it. So I loved teaching the group classes because, I don't know. And then I was the personal trainer, and then I'm telling this poor woman, get on the scales, I'm going to measure you, and now I'm going to put you on the treadmill, and now we're going to do this. And it went against everything inside me. And I was just like, no, you know what? It's actually more than that. It's not just the 1 hour a week that she spends with me that counts.
Yeah.
It's, you know, because I could see these women, they were struggling with, you know, just the busyness of life and the stress of, you know, they had so much going on, and then we can't fix that in an hour. So that sort of then led me down the nutrition path, because I swear I was a Labrador in a previous life. I love my food.
Yeah, me too.
Someone waves food past me, I'm sort of like, oh, what's that? Can I have some? But, you know, but always with a healthier twist on it. And I think I was lucky enough to be quite tuned into my body, what worked for me, what didn't. So I always, you know, sort of ate foods that, you know, that worked for my body. And my flatmates used to say, oh my God, you eat so much food. And I'm like, yeah, I know, I love it. And it was, you know, loads of veggies and fruits and, you know, so it was whole foods. And that was sort of how I sort of tipped into nutrition. So after my little spell in the corporate world, and then ended up back in nutrition, went back, studied. And then how I sort of got involved with women's hormones was because, ladies, I'm right there with you. So, you know, all of a sudden I had adrenal fatigue. So I managed to burn myself out. So 3 kids. We just moved interstate, so we had a big move. We'd, you know, sold our house. We knew no one where we were moving to. It was, you know, I'm trying to start up a business in a regional area that, you know, I had quite a successful business in Sydney, which is a big city. You know, and trying to recreate that business in a regional area, and it wasn't working. And, you know, I don't know why I would have hit the wall because in my head I was fine, you know, and I was pushing through, doing all the things, and hit the wall, couldn't work out what was going on. And one of my girlfriends, who's a naturopath, said to me, she goes, your adrenals are fried. And I was like, no, they're not. And she goes, and I think you've got estrogen, you know, you're estrogen dominant, you're high, you need to sort yourself out. And I was hearing it from my girlfriend, and I was just like, oh, maybe she's got a point. And what I was experiencing was directly reflected in the women I was seeing in clinic. So, you know, they were coming to me sort of their early to mid 40s. They were exhausted. That was the biggest thing, was the exhaustion. And in my head, I'm going, yep. Putting on weight, you know, like with my fabulous eating history, like I've always been a bum and thigh girl, you know, and then all of a sudden it was going on around my middle, and I was like, no, what's going on here? And and then the not sleeping, and then, you know, so this cascade of sort of symptoms. And I remember, like, I was madly trying to, backtrack through, what I knew and what I had learned. So, and like, I swear we covered perimenopause, I think, in about 2 minutes, and menopause in about 5, at college. There was a lot of focus on like our menstrual health. There was a lot of focus on fertility.
Yeah.
But when I couldn't remember, and whether or not I just blocked it because it wasn't relevant to me at the time, but I actually went back and we were taught, yes, very Australian phrase, 2/5 of bugger all about perimenopause and menopause. Like, it just wasn't even a thing. So then I was lucky enough to sort of, and I think when you go looking for these things, it just sort of appears. So I was lucky enough to connect with some, some well-respected practitioners in the area who specialised in women's health. And I learned so much from them about, just that, and I think there's a lot more information now about perimenopause and menopause. And, I think it's important to remember, and one thing that sort of changed for me, in the mindset was it's actually a natural transition. So we are meant to go through this transition. And in every other culture other than our Western culture, it's revered and it's, it's exciting new chapter. It's, we're starting, it's kind of like a fresh page. Our children are more independent. We're at a point, in our careers where, we don't need to be fighting to scale up that ladder, so we're sort of, happy within whatever relationship status that we're in. And it just sort of seemed this great shame for me that women were sort of suffering on their own in silence. They were pushing through. And I think as women, we've got this extraordinary capacity to push through. We do. We push through. We can just get the stuff done that needs to happen, because let's face it, no one else is going to do it. So we do it. We do all the things and we're exhausted. We've got nothing left, and you were talking about the fun and the joy and the relationships, there's nothing, my husband is very well versed now. Like, he knows not to give me the little hand at nighttime. Not happening. During the day, in the morning, not a different story. But at night time, after I've had a full day, that is not the time to put your paws on me. I don't want to be pawed at that time of day. And that's what I say to him. I said, it's don't paw me. This is not the time. And he knows now, when his more opportune times are. But it's just, we don't have much left to give. And it's just, I think, understanding what your body's going through and then knowing how to navigate those changes, has been, huge, and was huge for me. And then, that naturally then became an area that I wanted to explore and support more women in, for sure.
Yeah. I know, I graduated naturopathy in 99, which is a long time ago now. But I don't, I was completely blindsided by perimenopause. I just didn't even, I'm the youngest of 3 girls. My sisters didn't talk about it. My mum didn't talk about it. I remember my mum talking about lumpy boobs, which, kind of obviously filtered in at some point. Yeah. But, she used to get these fluid, swellings and not, nothing scary. But when it happened to me, it was scary because it was like, oh my gosh, I hadn't really heard anybody else talking about it. The flooding periods, like all these different things that, and certainly weight fluctuations, all these different things. I felt like I was quite blindsided by most of it when it first arrived in my world, despite all the training. And I think that's, that just paints a very clear picture of the fact that it's not something that people are talking about. There's still sort of a sense of shame or secrecy, or it's only happening to me, I'm the only weird one. And so I've learned through trial and error the things that turn off my hot flushes and the things that, I know that if I have a drink now, alcohol, I get hot flushes. If I don't eat the right food, I get hot flushes. I don't do those things. I don't have any. So but nobody else really said that to me. I just worked it out through trial and error. So these are the things that I really want us to get more confident in talking about so that we can, make our own journey through this much more comfortable, but also start talking so we can pass it on to the next generations.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
So
I
let's
think,
dive in. Let's talk about firstly the role of stress in weight gain, because I think there is so much emphasis on eat this and move this and, like
yeah,
all these, but people just are not connecting
yeah,
stress with weight. And I think it is a
yeah.
really great one to understand.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, like I just sort of talked about, how at this stage of life it's exciting and we've got a fresh page.
Yep.
Yes. But we also have, a full basket. So I sort of use the analogy with my clients, we're carrying a basket. We put our own needs in the basket and they kind of go to the bottom. Then we've got, young adults or teenage children who still need us, Yes, we've raised them to be beautiful, independent people, but they still consuming a lot of our energy. Then we've got partners, then we've got the job, then we've got aging parents. So we put that in the basket. So, and then everyone knows that we're quite capable and we push through and we get shit done. So they put more stuff on us. So we're carrying this overflowing basket. And what happens is stress is designed to keep us safe. So if we are driving a car and someone pulls out in front of us, we slam the brake on, we get that surge of adrenaline and cortisol and we stop the car. So we stop that accident. That's what stress is supposed to do. So it's all about keeping us safe.
Yep.
But the problem is our body doesn't recognize that urgent stress and just the everyday stress of all the stuff that's going in our basket and that heavy load that we're carrying in our basket. So, it could be, you can't, we're slamming the brakes on 100 times a day without even realizing it. And it can be, where are my car keys? My story this morning. There's no coffee beans. Coffee machine. It can be, just all those little things that, create stress on a daily basis, but it's just enough to keep those stress hormones simmering away. Now, from a health perspective, going back to it keeps us safe. So think about if we had to run from a bear. So stress allows us to drop everything, drop the basket and run. But what it also does is we're running away from our food store. So stress doesn't know that we're running to a fully stocked fridge at the other end. So it goes, you know what, I'm just going to hang on to breakfast and maybe dinner last night. We'll just pack that around the middle in case there's no food. Then stress also, we don't want to stop and have a quick shag behind the tree. So, kills our libido. All right, gone. Our reproductive system shut down. We don't need to stop and do a poo behind the tree as we're running from the bear. So our digestive system stops. So, that constipation or, for some women, straight through. So that diarrhea. So it messes with our digestive system. It also messes with our immune system. Every sort of aspect. And I think of stress as like the master controller of all our other hormones. So, for weight gain and a lot of women, oftentimes nothing particularly has changed in their diet. Sometimes it has, sometimes there might be more alcohol, than normal just to sort of block out the stress that's going on. Or it might be, that those up and down blood sugar. So we are looking for those carby kind of sugary sort of foods just to prop our blood sugar up. But we sort of think of stress as the master controller, and that's what signals our body to store fat. So even if nothing's changed, and it's interesting, because then some of the things that we go and try, because we don't like the weight going on, we don't feel good in our clothes, we don't feel good in our skin, we don't like what's going on. So we, then put our body under more stress without even realizing it. So by dropping all our carbs and going keto, if you're under stress, it's not the best choice. Your body needs that carbohydrate, to work with those stress hormones. If we are, fasting and doing long fasts, again, your body's under stress. It doesn't know when food is coming. So fasting can be hugely beneficial, but it can also backfire, on us. And likewise, exercise, and I'm guilty, I couldn't go, I had adrenal fatigue, I was exhausted, but I was putting on weight. So in my head, I needed to exercise more to keep on top of this weight. I couldn't go for a walk like a normal person. I had to do a 10K run, but it was just flooding my body with those stress hormones. And I see this with women doing, like that high intensity exercise, which is great for us. But if we're in that stress state, it's not the kind of movement that we need. So it's, and everything with nutrition always comes with a but. Low carb can be good, but, fasting can be good, but, high intensity exercise is great, but, so it's where are you at in your sort of stress journey? And then, what I do when I work with women is we work on sort of changing that response to stress.
Yeah.
So if we think of, the actual event that is potentially, it's just an event. It doesn't have an emotion attached to it, but the stress and the anxiety come from how we respond to that event. So if we're that wound up, we're going to go, from 0 to 100 every time, and it's that surging of stress hormones that's not doing us any favors.
Yeah, absolutely. I find that the whole nutrition conversation can so often be completely paralyzing because of this certainty that one thing or another is right, and there is evidence that all of it is right, and there is evidence that all of it is wrong.
It's wrong.
So it is. I, even as somebody who has done not only naturopathy but functional nutrition, and I'm so passionate, I still look at stuff and just go, oh my gosh, carnivore, and here's somebody that's getting the most amazing results eating only meat, no plants. Oh my goodness. And then there's the person that's getting extraordinary results eating only vegan, no meat. And it is so easy to get paralyzed in the, well, what on earth do I do, and how on earth do I work out what is right for my body? And I think that, I would love to hear your thoughts on how you coach women through this. But my experience is that there's a little bit of trial and error, but the blanket rule is real food. I mean, nobody's ever said that real food is the wrong way to go. Is that?
Yeah, exactly right. So, so I have, when I have the conversation with the lady who's been on the, whether it's isogenics or lady shakes or, whatever it is, you may as well save your money and have a Milo, like seriously, because it's got the equivalent nutritional value and it works because you're not eating. And what happens when you stop taking the shakes? The weight will pile on, guaranteed, and then some. So, that's only ever going to end one way. Now, real food. And I'm a big sort of believer in don't put a label on it. It really doesn't. And it's working out what works for you. So with the whole, carbohydrate thing, I'm sort of a big, if it came out of a packet, it's not great. If it came from a plant, go for it, and it's, have the potato, the perfect portion size nugget of deliciousness, and we've vilified this potato, and then you won't think twice about going and having some chemical loaded protein bar, like it's just the logic there is crazy. I remember walking out of the gym one morning and, I'm eating a banana. This girl said to me, she goes, oh, how can you eat the banana? There's so many carbs in it. And I'm looking at what she's eating and she had the protein bar and I didn't say it because, I was just like, oh. But in my head, I'm going, oh, how can you eat that? It's just so many chemicals. It's not food.
You're clearly nicer than me. I probably would have said something.
It was early in the morning. I was just like, do I want to get into this conversation? Probably not. So, but and I think it's,
I completely back up what you're saying and just feel so passionate that if Mother Nature delivered it, you're on a good thing. That's the starting point. That's the foundation. So whenever I want to take the confusion out of it for people, it's like, okay, so let's start with as close to what Mother Nature delivered as possible.
Yeah.
So people look in my fridge, I've got, meat and vegetables, a little bit of fruit, and that is it. And then from where there I might add in, my husband is very, very physically active, so he needs more starch and things than I do. If I need a carbohydrate hit, or that, I'll have a date or a piece of fruit, or and then you're adding in vegetable. But I know that for my body, two things. One, I was vegetarian for 20 years and couldn't work out why I got sicker and sicker and sicker, even though it was whole food, it was all organic, it was all, like, tick all those boxes, but it did not work for me. I got sicker and sicker and sicker. My weight went up and up and up. I got less and less and less energy. So I think to be vegetarian or vegan, you need a different level of understanding about food, how to support your body. It's really, really important that you don't replace it with false foods, these kind of soy meats and stuff. But working out what works for your body. So how do you, like, when you talk about eating foods that support happy hormones, let's go back to, really looking at where we are in our journeys through life. What are you looking at there?
So I always get my ladies, so I use a plate planning system. So I don't do meal plans because they're hard to stick to. Everyone has different family circumstances, food preferences, food availability as well is a big thing. Since I've moved to a regional area, I realized, I don't have organic fruit and vegetables at my fingertips, the way I did in Sydney. And now that my children are teenagers, I couldn't afford to fill my fridge full of organic veggies either. So very much, using the plate planning system means that you can adjust your existing family meals in a way that you're hitting key elements on your plate that's going to support your blood sugar levels first and foremost, which then has a knock-on effect to your energy levels and your mood. It's going to give you the nutrients, give you the fiber that you need, so you don't have this up and down blood sugar all day. So, so I always start with, let's get fiber on your plate. So, whatever that looks like for you, it's, the greener, the leafier, the better. But, let's make it, fill half your plate with plants. So whether that's, frozen produce, whether it's beautiful organic produce, whatever you can manage, let's fill it half with plants. Then, we need, I talk about hormone anchoring, and to anchor your blood sugar with protein and fats together. They keep you feeling fuller for longer. So you're not looking for, the chocolate at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. They keep your blood sugar stable. So your blood sugar always goes up when you eat, but we want it coming down slowly. We don't want that big high and that big crash. So if you're having, for instance, pardon me, a typical Western breakfast of coffee, juice, cereal, toast, your blood sugar shoots up and it comes crashing down. 2 hours later, you're looking for more food. Whereas when we have, say a beautiful piece of sourdough, some spinach, some avocado, some eggs, that keeps you going until your next meal. So we're not looking for those snacks in between our meals. So there's sort of the two things. And then, if we're adding in carbohydrate on top, it just needs to be a little bit. So whether that's, and for any sort of woman in their 40s, 50s, if you've got any kind of thyroid stuff, any adrenal stuff, like I really do encourage some kind of carbohydrate. And it doesn't have to be a huge amount, but, it could be oats, it could be potato, sweet potato, pumpkin, brown rice, quinoa. There's so many options that we can have. But I find, that really helps with those energy levels. And quite oftentimes women just aren't eating enough too. So, and if you sort of are a non-breakfast eater, so generally I start with breakfast. And for all the non-breakfast eaters, think about it this way. You wouldn't jump in the car and decide to drive from Sydney to Melbourne and sort of think, you know what, I'm not going to put any petrol in until I get to Canberra.
Yeah.
it doesn't work. You're not going to get very far. So if you're
Yeah.
already exhausted and already tired,
Mm.
you need to fuel your body,
Yeah.
because if you don't,
Yeah.
you're not going to move out of that situation. So generally, yeah, just start with getting that right balance, and then
Yeah.
I start with breakfast.
Yeah.
And a lot of women are horrified. I can't. I don't have time. But we just keep it super simple. We don't have to be cooking eggs every morning, but just keep it super simple. And it makes such an enormous difference to
Yeah.
energy levels.
Yeah. I think it's, part of that conversation is being a little bit more intuitive as well. Rather than necessarily, yes, people are busy and there's timetables that need to be accounted for, but rather than just eating because the clock says it's time to eat,
Yeah.
think about allowing yourself to get hungry.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
if we don't ever experience, we've got this programming that if you're hungry,
Yeah.
it's almost like a panic thing. But
Yeah.
hunger's good.
Good.
Allow yourself to get hungry
Yeah.
and then know it's time to have something to eat.
Yeah.
So if you're hungry when you wake up and you're,
Yeah.
that morning hunger, awesome. But if you don't need something to eat until 10 o'clock, then maybe
Yeah.
that's going to work for your body as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you mentioned porridge, I saw a recipe. I think it was the Food Babe. I can't remember, but a few months ago, and I've taken on this habit. I do oats in the morning, and I actually beat 2 eggs, and I fold it through I take it off the heat once it's
Yeah.
cooked. I fold the egg through and ghee, and that is the best breakfast ever.
Yeah. Oh my God. All right.
It's,
I'll do that tomorrow.
I know it sounds weird, and when I
Yeah.
first saw it, I was like, "Oh, I don't know, maybe it smell
Yeah.
weird," or wasn't sure, but I thought I'm just gonna
Yeah.
give it a go.
Yeah.
So good. That
Oh,
eating, that high protein, high fat,
yeah.
the satiety just means that it lasts me for hours. So
Forever.
good.
Yeah, that's right. So, yeah, I'm gonna give that a go. Yeah, 'cause I was like, "Where are you going with that?"
Yeah, just try it. I
Oh,
do, half
yeah.
a cup of oats, and I cook it in
Yeah.
coconut milk, so there's more
Yeah.
fat in there, and then, once it's cooked, I take it off the
Mm.
heat, and I
Yeah.
beat, 2 eggs and then just fold it through for a minute or 2, and I'm just addicted to, Peace, Love and Vegetables, their ghee. I've got no
Yeah.
affiliation, but I tell everyone
Yeah.
because I just eat it by the teaspoon.
Yeah. Oh,
So
yeah.
good.
Yeah. Well, I'm addicted at the moment to cinnamon and cardamom in my oats, and the
Oh,
combination of
yum.
that together is divine. So
Yeah.
tomorrow I'm gonna be adding in the eggs as well. So
Yeah.
I'll let you know how
Yeah.
it goes.
Yeah. We're getting close to time. I want to touch
Yeah.
on alcohol because I think that this
Yeah.
is a conversation that I just think I think it's something that comes up so much. And once
Yeah.
again, you'll always find evidence for what you're looking for. That
Yeah.
fabulous old Italian man that drank a glass of red wine every day and his health was perfect. And
Yeah.
then the person that tells you that alcohol is going to
Yeah.
be the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Look, in an ideal world, it doesn't do us any favors. So in an
Mm,
ideal world, we wouldn't be drinking it, to be honest.
mhm,
Now,
mhm.
having said that, I enjoy a glass of wine,
Yep.
and what I do with my clients, because it needs to be realistic. So,
Mhm,
to give up alcohol entirely is great. But,
mhm,
if you actually don't want to, then where does it fit in your life? So
mhm.
my sort of rule of thumb is 1 to 2 glasses, 1 to 2 nights a week.
Yep.
So you can still have a glass of wine with dinner on Friday and Saturday night. And I think for most of my clients, that's realistic and they can do that because they're giving themselves permission to enjoy it. So then
Yep.
all of a sudden that guilt and that shame and the whole thing around
Mhm,
it, they're giving themselves permission so they don't feel like they've ruined their diet or ruined anything. Um, but I also then challenge them to, okay, well, why are we drinking? Are we drinking to
mhm,
block things out? And what can we do instead? Are we
mhm,
drinking just as a coping thing? Are
mhm.
you drinking because you think it's relaxing you?
Yeah.
So we sort of delve into a bit, why are we drinking? I'm
Mm,
not talking about the 1 or 2 glasses of wine that you enjoy at dinner on the weekend. I'm talking about why are we drinking as a habit? And
mm,
9 times out of 10, is it actually a habit? Because we
mm.
do like, you know, we're creatures of, we like to feel nice. We like to feel special. So for a lot of women, it's actually a ritual. So you come home, you get the nice glass, you know, you have the glass of wine, you're having a conversation with, you know, your family. So we can still do that, but it's just bringing that awareness that we can actually do something differently. So, you know, I get a lot of women, you know, still have the wine glass, but then have, you know, the mineral water and put some, you know, some frozen raspberries in it so it looks pretty, and we'll put some fresh lime, or because we like to feel nice. So drinking out of a nice wine glass or a nice gin glass. And then, you know, light a candle, you know, because the candle's there and we see the candle and it makes us feel nice. Likewise, you know, buy yourself some fresh flowers, because, you know, to have fresh flowers, you know, sitting there on the kitchen bench or on the dining table, when we look at it, it makes us feel nice. So I think it's, you know, with alcohol, and, you know, like there's a lot of biological reasons hormonally for us to not drink alcohol. But I think from a mental point of view, it's the first thing we need to do is, or how else can we make ourselves feel nice? So it's just little things like that. And then obviously, you know, alcohol puts a load on your liver. It impacts your sleep. If your, you know, weight loss is one of your goals, alcohol and weight loss don't necessarily go together. You know, and there are links with, you know, alcohol and breast cancer, you know, sort of the equivalent. And, you know, there's the fear around the old style of HRT, you know, and that's linked to breast cancer. But they're actually sort of saying, well, actually alcohol has a similar sort of level of risk. To, and they're sort of looking now that there is no safe level of alcohol to prevent breast cancer. So, yeah, so there's lots of health reasons for giving up alcohol, but I would look first at, you know, what else, what can you replace it with? How else can you make yourself feel nice, rather than going, oh, right, stop drinking, no alcohol for you, you know, because that doesn't work. We'll do it for a couple of weeks and then, you know, it's easy to fall back. So it's replacing those habits just with different choices.
Yeah, I think that's a really, really great way to explain it and to think about it and talk about it. And, you know, one of the red flags for me is when I hear I just need a glass of wine. So if it's a need and it's become a bit of a crutch in order to relax at the end of the day, then we get to go, okay, so how can we pour in a bit of love and relaxation somewhere and in another way? Because we always want to be in a position where we feel like we're making a very deliberate, clear choice for our highest good, without wanting to sound like a bumper sticker. But you know, like what is for the highest good? And sometimes a glass of wine with a group of girlfriends or with your partner or whatever, that's fabulous. If that works, that's great. But if it's become a need, a crutch, a way to cope, then we get to tweak things and come up with a different solution.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know you have a fabulous gift for our audience. Did you want to take a minute just to let them know what that is, please?
Yes, I do. I have, I hope I'm giving the right one. The healthy eating for happy hormones.
Yes.
Yeah. So in there, I've included, you know, sort of what a hormone, you know, meal looks like, you know, or what you should have on your plate to, you know, support your hormones. And I've put in some of my favorite recipes in there as well. So I do hope you enjoy it, because, all my ladies love it. So,
That's so generous. And I just love, I don't tend to, I've got all these beautiful cookbooks, but I must confess I barely bring them out anymore. But every now and then something will come up, like your gift, or I'll see a recipe online. It's like, oh, there's something that I can just tweak and add in, and it's lovely to just get that little burst of something different to mix up how we're eating.
And super simple. I'm all about keeping it easy.
Yes, I know. And every now and then I think, oh, I'll share that with my audience, because they're asking for different ideas and things. And then I find that I've got, you know, like a favorite cheese, and I mash a half a date on it with a wedge of cheese. I'm like, I don't think that's gonna look very sexy on Instagram, but
I do the dates and I put peanut butter in my dates or nut butter in my dates, and the same thing. It just looks like a little turd. It doesn't look.
Yeah, not very Instagram sexy, but you know, there you go.
But very, very yummy.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time. It is such a delight to talk to you, Kylie, and I'm so grateful that you were able to be here. Thank you.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, thanks everyone for watching.
I'm not sure, you're in the group. So if anyone's got questions for Kylie, please pop them in here. I'm sure when time permits, she'll come in and answer any questions you've got and be here to have a chat with you. All right. Thank you so much, Kylie.
Okay. Thanks, Edwina. Bye.
All right, beautiful women. Well, that's it for today. Another amazing wealth of information for you to take into your day. Think about, you know, the food that you're eating and the health goals that you have. As I said, we've opened up ENLIVEN. So if you are looking to create that incredible vision that you get to feel excited about bringing to life, your health, wealth, time, and love goals, creating a vision, and then you will have the step-by-step blueprint that you get to bring to life. That is now open. The link is in the comments section. I think Gia popped it in earlier. She might pop it in again for you, but that's there. That kicks off on the 5th of September. And if you will, my encouragement is to invite a girlfriend. And if you want to do that, to do it together, we are so much stronger together, and the accountability is amazing if we do it with somebody else. Then you can invite her in and either shout her, or you can split the $97 and make it, you know, 50% off. All right, that's it from me. So much love, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.